Good morning,
Greg, you ready?
I've been ready.
Everybody ready?
I came on ready.
Let's get going.
All right, let's go.
So welcome to the community briefing. My name is Gregory Sneed, and I'm one of the hosts along with Stephen, Crystal, and Robin. We welcome you today. We've got a great show, a really big show, as someone used to say a long time ago. We'll have some housekeeping items, and Crystal will join us, but just a little bit about myself. I am a financial coach. I have a little over 40 years of experience in the financial industry, and my specialty is helping my clients to keep more of the money that they make. And I believe that when you feel better about your money, you feel better about yourself. If you'd like to feel better about your money, I'll put some information in the chat and let's have a chat. Okay. Next up is Crystal. We're going to welcome Crystal to the mic. Crystal Mitchell.
Hey everyone, good morning. Welcome to the community briefing. This is a platform that was created and founded for us to have a space that we could speak in real time on what was going on from our community leaders and from our stakeholders and from those in our community that are making decisions about our lives. And we wanted to hear it firsthand so that you could then take that information and be able to use it to continue to grow your business and be successful, especially during the COVID pandemic. So this is all about making sure that we were moving from surviving to thriving. So I am the co-director of Recycling Black Dollars and the co-host of the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert, as well as this platform. And I host another podcast called Communications on the Patio. I'm a business coach and consultant, and I am here to serve my community. And I'm gonna flip it over to Ms. Robin.
Good morning, guys. Robin Billups with the Billups Group. I work as a consultant as well. I have a 30-year plus history in the financial services industry. But most importantly, I work with folks to help them understand what you don't know that you don't know about the procurement process. Every week I try to bring something interesting. So I heard this quote yesterday after the debacle with Liz Cheney. And there was a speaker that said, can you be yourself in the presence of truth? Can you be yourself in the presence of truth? And that was the question that was posed to these individuals who decided to take her power because she's telling the truth. So we all need to look at an assessment from that perspective. Can you be yourself in the presence of truth? Think about that, machinate on that, and share it with others. So we want to get started. We have a great speaker coming up today. We ask you to put your questions in the chat box and spread the word because, again, we're here to serve, create resources that folks can get off the call and actually implement. Let's get started.
Did Stephen introduce himself? You got to take yourself off mute. There you go.
Ray, go ahead. I'm at the end.
Oh, okay. All righty, Greg, you want to introduce, welcome to everyone. We're glad that you're here and we're really excited about Miss Ronda. I remember Ronda Jackson about 10 years ago. We were I was with the Urban League, working with the Urban League, and we were doing a mastermind group. And that's the first time I met her. She was dynamic 10 years ago and she's phenomenal 10 years later. So we are thankful and glad that you're in our community doing what you do. All righty, Greg, that's it's on.
Okay, well, a couple of housekeeping things. We appreciate everybody keeping yourselves on mute. And this way we'll keep out some of the background noise and the dogs and cats and gardeners and what have you. So any questions that you have for Ms. Jackson, please put them in the chat and we will cover that after her presentation. So without further delay, it's now time to welcome Ms. Ronda Jackson. A little bit of background on her. I'm starting a trend going from the reverse and upward. So we'll start with education. She has educational background at the Tuck School of Business at Dartmouth, the UCLA Anderson School of Management, UCLA, the University of Washington, and also some training with the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. So that is quite fantastic. Ronda Jackson is president and CEO of Design by Decor, and she also serves as the City of Los Angeles Small Business Commissioner. She is a highly skilled social media influencer with her own business podcast, The Road to Recovery, with a focus on being effective and efficient business methods and tools companies that they can deploy to build capacity and grow financially. So she is a serial entrepreneur, and serial with an S, not the C. Mother, licensed contractor, certified interior designer, and small business advocate. She's no stranger to hard work. She's a transformational leader, and she's been honored with numerous awards with over 2 decades of experience in interior outfitting, workplace enhancement, and business operation and growth. She is confident in her approach, methodology, and her guidance from her team. Ms. Ronda Jackson is your been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, and keep the ticket stub life champion. Please join me in welcoming Ronda Jackson.
Thank you. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Beverly. Thank you, Dewana. I mean, I feel like I'm among family. Colette's here. This is just a Quasi. Oh my God. Hi. Nice to see you. He's with the city. No, that introduction, it just, hopefully if nothing else, just expresses to you my passion for people. So whether it's people in their spaces, people in their places, and for today's conversation, people in their place in the marketplace. So the objective of, the information that I wanted to bring forward, it's just 2 words. You guys, I usually start my Road to Recovery show with 1 word, but I have 2 words today. It's be profitable. Okay, so all this conversation about pivoting and, spinning around, I'm dizzy. I don't know about you guys, but that whole vertigo thing is not what I want in my business right now. So I come to you from a place of discovery, of knowledge digging, and just wanting to share and take that knowledge back to your communities for others to grow, learn, and just the 2 words, being profitable. The reason I think that this is so important is because I believe that when you make more money, you can do bigger things and you can help more people. So there's a component of philanthropy that is built into our lives, into our businesses. And then building your business and managing your money, I think someone said it earlier, that's what legacy wealth building is about. It's about having those finances and those investments that are available in the community to do more good. And then on the Road to Recovery, we talk about a success strategy. That information plus implementation equals transformation. So Robin would like this, what does he say? When you know better, you do what? You do better. You do better. And so that's a lot of what these conversations. So again, Recycling Black Dollars, Black Business Association, thank you for the opportunity to share this, because it'll be years before we can really assess the economic impact of, to us as individuals, to us as business owners, of what the civil unrest, the pandemic, and the things that we're just coming up from under, right? It'll be years before we know what that is, but we know that it's been dynamic. So if you would take just a moment to reflect and redefine in your business, I like the words of the great philosopher, Kenny Rogers. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run. And when you assess just those 4 things in your business as a part of your rebuilding method, what things should you let go of? What things don't serve you well? What things won't serve you well? I know everybody wants to call it a new normal, but what won't serve you well in the new reality? Okay, because we've definitely changed the way we're doing business. And for those of us that haven't yet incorporated digital and e-commerce in our businesses, shame on you. Time is up. GoDaddy, it's 99 cents to start a website. Do it now. Colette, I'm sure at PCR, there is a digital class that has yet to be held on how to do that or incorporate e-commerce into your business. So just with that, because an unprofitable business model, I don't care if it's because of poor financial management, right? The lack of cash reserves, operational mediocrity, right? We're in a place now where we can't do all of this by ourselves. An individual, we were impacted by the pandemic. Kids are at home, spouses are at home. People are trying to carve up workspace for everybody in a single space. And there's not enough bandwidth for that. So you have to create and build that team. One of the elements of the rebuilding has to be part of that team. Who's supporting you in what you're doing? Did you find that COVID or any of the unrest right now, did you find that it caused the problems in your business, or did it simply amplify the problems in your business? The wasteful and inefficient spending, the undisciplined expansion. Were you moving, growing at a rate that wasn't, that you're not able to keep up with? And then there's that element of dysfunctional management, because some of us, a lot of the training that you heard on my resume was because I'm a wonderful interior designer. I'm an even better color picker for your paints. But what did I know about business? I think Robin in the intro said, you don't know what you don't know. So seeking that knowledge, accessing the resources that are available through the Black Business Association, through PCR and the other small business community resources that are available are key. They're key to go back to those three fundamental, that legacy building, transformation, and even into the philanthropy. So, but the other thing about rebuilding, I think that people think that they just, kind of straighten their hat back up and they're fun, they're fine. But rebuilding is actually taking what was working, stripping away what's not going to serve you well, and then adding in creative and innovative solutions. And sometimes that means new things. That means new products. That means new services. That means new employees. The rebuilding, taking the core elements have worked well in the past, but we can't solely rely on that. We need to enhance that and expand that business model to create new capabilities, and also letting customers know we're still here. How many of us have an email list? How many of us have an Instagram page? How many of us have emailed our email list to tell them that we have an Instagram page? Phone numbers have changed, services, and people, I for one did it, reducing my expenses was the first go-to thing that I did to, kind of combat what was happening in the world. But, to go back and let people know that you survived, that in itself, has warranted, us opportunities, and could also be, something that gets you new business. But rebuilding your talent, your team needs your support more than ever. There's going to be some serious PTSD, and then now we've got to try to, transition back into offices or not. That is not the job that this person that maybe has been working for you for 2, 5, 10 years signed up for. So what does that change management look like? What does that conversation look like, with your team? Rebuilding the customers. Again, that intro letter, that hello, that I'm still here. How are you doing? Find out what's going on in their businesses and in their lives. And then maybe there's another pain point that you could solve for them. And then rebuilding our operations, right? How we do business. Again, the digital format, the e-commerce, the remote work atmosphere, all of that is changing and shifting. And then how, whatever the expense or the non-expense for that is, how are you measuring and recapturing that to figure out how to calibrate for for the new reality, right? And then lastly, rebuilding our finances. And that one is going to be really key. Have we assessed the financial damage? And I'm calling it damage because even if it's good, even if your business catapulted right now during the pandemic and you started selling PPE and you started selling, all sorts of safety, products, where are you capturing that on your balance sheet? And has that impacted your balance sheet where you are now in a new business? So is the business that you were known for now different than the business that you're serving? And does that need to be built out? Does it need its own LLC and own bank account? Or are you just kind of in this transition, which now you've got brand confusion? And so now why does your customer call you? Or are you reestablishing why your customer called you? Whether it's to keep both of those services or if it's to shed one or the other, because of the new path that you'd like to take as a business. And then when's the last time you inventoried your assets? I personally got rid of a 3,000 square foot warehouse. I had furniture from staging projects. I had furniture from showcase houses, from, 2-for-1 sales that I just knew I was going to use in someday maybe. So if anybody needs a sofa, let me know. Anyway, let me know. But, inventory those assets. Those assets are just that. Those are assets. Can they be liquidated? Can they be sold? Can they be donated? Maybe if you in a surplus at cash flow and you need a tax deduction, maybe it's time to donate some of those assets. And then when's the last time you evaluated your staffing capacity? I bet everyone on here learned something new about themselves as far as technology goes and the skill sets that they possess. So how do you take that asset, your human capital, and reassess and reallocate? Are there people now that showed up as leaders through all of this that you need now to address and talk to them about a different responsibility or a different role in your company? Are there people that did not show up that you need to go back and readdress and recalibrate what their role is in the company. And then lastly, also examining your facility. With the opportunity for the shelter in place orders, do we need as much square footage as we have, or do we need more? Or is there an opportunity to partner and cohabitate, a shared office space situation with another fellow business owner? But, when we take that second look, I know that most people would be like, oh, revisit your business plan, but I don't want you to use those words anymore, because the business plan is just the structure and the constraints of what it is you do. All right. It's not going to help you do what you do. Right. So either I need you to call it a pivot plan. I need you to call it a shift schedule. I need you to call it plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and just be able to flip through the pages. But in that plan, profitability has to be center. The mix of financial cash flow opportunities, you have to have your zero, your net zero. That's cash and carry. That's money coming in 24/7, right? That could be your e-commerce. That could be something that happens, with credit card swiping. Then you need your 10-day cash flow, right? Your 10-day cash flow are the clients that are short-term. Maybe one of the things that we did is we tapped back into a residential arm where, we can fulfill a service. It's a short-term, short lead, and the customer probably pays by about the end of the week, no more than 10 days. Then you have your 30-day cash flow. Those are maybe some of your established accounts with customers that, have been with you for long-term. And, you complete the job, you invoice, and you know that money is happening in 30 days. And those are usually more like government contract, state contract work. Another set of finance is your 60 and 90 day. So these will usually be large dollar, big ticket projects, but you need your 0, 10s, and 30s in order to help with financing, or you call PCR, another shameless plug, for some financing options or some financing products that they have available as far as lines of credit and factoring and other PO financing type products and services that they may have. But the other thing that I want you to add a page into your pivot plan or your shift schedule, whatever you want to call it, is your win-win, right? So if you pick 3 goals, that things you're going to win at, see the W, that's why I picked 3. So W for win, right? What 3 things are you going to win at in the near future? And then the other win, WHEN, when is this happening? Develop a timeline for rebuilding. Someday maybe will never come, right? Only thing that comes to a sleeper is a what? Is a dream. So you have to create and develop a timeline for when the win-win, for when the rebuilding is going to take place and when it's going to happen. I mean, every year we know that the third Thursday of the month is Thanksgiving. It needs to be calendared like clockwork, similar to that. And then it gives you an opportunity to investigate new sales channels. So if you know what your 0, 10, 30, 60 looks like with your core products and services, you can see where you have gaps and where you need to create new products and new streams of revenue within your business. And then again, just can't even recommend enough for you to build your social media presence and go back to that email list that you guys say you have and just say hello. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to have video. It doesn't have to have, the GIF and the funny jokes and stuff like that. It could just be hello. It could be a word of inspiration. It could just be about a win-win. Hey, we have a 90-day goal of servicing 100 clients this month. Are you going to be one of them? And, just calling to mind what it is you do for that client to go, oh yeah, I do need some photography services. I do need some cleaning. I do need electrical work. And then, that can spark some conversation. And then just like we're here today is networking with like-minded professionals. There's lots of programming being brought forth in the community. I cannot encourage you enough to tap in, whether it's mine, it's a free resource on the road to recovery, whether it's resources that are SBDCs like PCR, whether it's the Black Business Association hosting some of the great content and classes that they've sponsored. But get connected and stay connected, and then consider what your roadmap looks like. Thank you for your time today, and I appreciate sharing, and I'm open to any questions that you have.
That was just awesome, on point with everyone from an accounting standpoint. I say that to business owners all the time. And that's one of the things, Rhonda, that I saw during this COVID pandemic was the biggest highlight for most of our businesses were the financial structures that they did not have. They've been using everything from scraps of piece of paper to spreadsheets. But when it came down to doing the forgiveness for the PPP and even being able to apply for the relief packages, they just did not have any financials in place, and they were scrambling. So that's a big takeaway, I think, from from the pandemic for most of our business owners.
Yeah, Crystal, if any business owner wants to figure out just from 30,000 level foot of what's missing from a documentation standpoint in their business, all they have to do is go through the application of applying for certification. If they can comfortably produce all of the documentation for getting certified, woman-owned, minority-owned, DBE, SBE, LSBE, any of the certifications, they will see where their opportunities for growth are as from an operational standpoint in their business. So that little, and it comes out to about 30 tabs. There should be 30 tabs in that binder for you to fill out a regular certification application. And then they would know, what to look for as far as resources in their business.
Exactly. So that's being business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. And if you're all of those, especially if you're contract ready, you should definitely be bank loan readiness, have your bank loan readiness. So that's fantastic. Stephen has a question. What are some of the major contracts you have won, and what were some of your keys to success?
Okay, major contracts. So so there was one point in my business where I had more time than money. So I hold probably about 13 different certifications for my business. I was filling out everything that you said I qualified. They said brown eyes, I said check. They said 5'7", I said check. And I filled out everything. The one thing that I could say that helped me as a key to success was going back and looking at the customers that I actually wanted to do business with and what were priorities for them. So then I kind of shaped and molded myself into a type of business that was a good fit for general contractors, that I'm a good fit for the studios. So Warner Brothers is a long-term client, probably since like 2006. Disney is a long-term client. We were actually a subcontractor to help revamp and remodel the LA Forum. We were part of the LAX Tom Bradley Terminal remodel in the luxury island. So Vino Volo, that big wine graphic that's there. We did work for Westfield, painting all the ceilings. So we've had some big things, but I think the key to that success is understanding, the who, what, when, where, why for my client. How do they purchase? When do they purchase? And, what type of what type of vendor do they source that through? So, it could be, even for my interior design services, most companies don't source that as a separate line item. So I've had to partner with some nice sized architectural firms in order to be active in that game. So I think really understanding how your customer purchases what it is you do or sell is pivotal. That's huge.
Awesome. Where would one find referrals? Like especially for residential, I have a family member that's looking for an architectural landscape design for redo their pools and backyards. And where is a central source for us to find, with recommendations possibly, on who these people are?
I'm going to first recommend that they check out the Black Directory on the Recycling Black Dollars website.
So which means everybody needs to sign up for the Recycling Black Dollars.
And then honestly, I would look to where I go for referrals for no matter what I'm trying to source is I look for professional organizations. So if I'm looking for a woman-owned business, I'm going to call WeBank. If I'm looking for an interior designer or interior design partner, I'm going to go to the International Interior Design Association. The reason why is when professionals invest back in themselves, that's a core value for me. So someone that's a life learner, someone that understands that they need community and that are looking to share that wealth of information, that to me is important. So I tend to go to professional organizations in that trade or in that field to look for referrals.
Oh, fantastic.
Ronda, we have a question for Jasmine, and her question was, she watches Open House New York City. Where are the Black interior designers? And again, there's a twofold piece to this, because as I got involved in Supply Diversity in 2006, a lot of people said that they didn't want to be associated with being a Black business. They didn't want to be associated with being a woman-owned business. They don't want to be categorized like that. Can you speak to the fact that there's 12 million points of entry? And when you just hit the nail on the head with these professional organizations, can you kind of add a little bit more to that, specifically about Black interior designers? But more importantly, can you talk about the fact that these access points are created? To your point, brown eyes, check. 5'7", check. That, can you add a little bit more to that in responding to her question?
Okay, so I heard a couple different things, and please tell me if I'm getting this right. So the first thing, as far as points of entry, so so the way I looked at sales, and I think Beverly gave this in a speech way back when I was carrying her purse around.
Exactly. We were.
But everybody's lined up at the front door, right? And the line at the front door wraps around the building. Well, if you go around to the side, you'll notice that there's a freight entry, there's a delivery entry, there's a,
Service entry
here, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you might qualify to enter, and I'm just using business as a box, that box through other ways. You might, I look at my certification as the helicopter to go to the roof, because
Right.
corporations that value diversity are looking for, through the WeBanks and through the SCM, the Southern California Minority Development Councils, for, businesses like yours. And you just have to be ready to go. And then sometimes I do have to compete via a RFP process or through formal bidding and things like that. But every chance and opportunity that I can be not on one list, not on two lists, but three lists. So we're registered with LACCD as a small business. We're registered for informal bidding. And then we also get the Planet Bid alerts for other larger opportunities. So you just want to be, because you never know how you're going to fit into an opportunity. So I get emails for, hey, Rhonda, do you want to partner with us? We need a DBE or we need an MBE. Hey, Rhonda, we only need paint and this is under a XYZ dollar threshold. Would you like to bid on it? Hey, Rhonda, so again, that goes back to the 0, the 10, the 30, and the 60s. You've got to have that variety of business and those streams of revenue and access points, even if you don't change your product. If you understand the sourcing and the procurement process, you may only qualify for one door. They may not consider you until, like, there's some companies that won't consider you as a supplier until you've reached 5 million mark. Well, how are you going to reach 5 million mark until you get enough purchasing behind you, sourcing behind you to get to those revenue levels? So you have to do teaming, you have to do, subcontracting opportunities, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, and build up your capacity and your finances behind you to do that. So that was one. The question about Black interior designers. They don't know us. So these are and again, this goes back to professional organizations. I've been a member of the American Society of Interior Designers. I'm on the board for the LA chapter of the International Interior Design Association. There are literally 2 of us on that board of like 13 people. And if that's just any clue to the percentage, what the world looks like, right? You get a nice little, you call me a cereal entrepreneur. Now I'm gonna talk about the cereal with the C, right? The white milk. And there's only a couple of Black dots in it. Well, the white dots only know other white dots, unfortunately, right? So unless we get into these rooms and we start mixing and we start networking and we start letting people know that we're here and present, we're not going to be represented. It's not going to come to us. It's not going to be storked. It's not going to be airmailed. It's not going to be, carrier pigeoned over to you. You have to go and be present. You have to be present. And make that a personal issue.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I will. One of the things that I tell clients all the time is, I have a young lady out of Chicago who wants to do she's been a psychologist forever. And I said, you know what, why don't you go work part-time for one of those Anglos that that's been in business forever, because you could be the DBE answer. There may be a door that's only for Black female psychiatry, but she has infrastructure in place. So can you talk about that whole piece about teaming and identifying folks that you can partner with, and not necessarily a formal partnership? I like teaming agreements because it allows you to court. So can you talk about that a little bit? Because again, that creates an opportunity for you to be able for them to meet their compliance and what have you.
Yes. So I think that teaming is important. And there are programs that are set up for it. So Metro has, to me, one of the most robust and encouraged teaming programs, that a percentage of a prime's contract has to be spent with a diverse business. And, diverse business still has to qualify. They still have to perform. It's not a gift situation or mandatory, but it's definitely a warm introduction, that maybe to an otherwise prime contractor or prime supplier that you may not have ever met. So that's one. But I think also in that relationship, that make sure that it's one where you're growing.
Yeah.
So you don't want to just be the one that carries the groceries, Learn how they make the paper bags, learn where they buy the paper bags from, learn what goes in the bag first, and second. And so that eventually the idea is that those teaming arrangements have to build capacity. That's where you're going to see the major growth in your business. That's where you're going to get the 2 or 3 legs to stand on, later on, where you're the one teaming and bringing others through the door. And then the other thing that I just want to make sure that we all do is that as we get these teaming and partnership opportunities is that we performed, because all they need is the one person that it didn't work out. And then, oh no, I don't want to do business with them because they don't know how to do it. And it could have just been a small, again, when you go through that binder and you try to fill all those tabs, you can see where your gaps are. Is it an administrative issue? It may not have even had to do anything with your product or service. It might have been your back office. So, making sure that you are ready for those teaming opportunities and understand your scope. That's another thing that gets a little convoluted, that sometimes you get into the partnerships and they just want to pass off to you the things that they don't want to do, and those things may not be your forte. So, you're accepting work because you think you're earning $1, but you're actually, pedaling backwards because you don't have the skill set. And then the cost of building up that skill set and building up that trained staff to do that work isn't always, properly compensated for.
Excellent.
I quite agree. There's a couple of points that you made, Rhonda, that I think everyone should take away. So one of the things that I know about Rhonda is she doesn't sit in her office and let stuff come to her. I see her visible on all platforms, social media wise. And I think a lot of our businesses owners need to come out from behind the desk and introduce yourself to the world. Be more active on your LinkedIn, be more active on your Instagram. Let people know what you're doing, because we don't know you're back there. We can track, we can see Rhonda. I can see her progression from when I first met her 10 years ago to where she is today, because she's let us know that. So we need to know that as well. And it is very important that as Black business owners that we are thriving for success. But sometimes it does mean that we have to interact into other networks in order to do that, because they need to know that you do exist. So great takeaways. Ardina, who's our amazing artist, she says, Rhonda, do you find that interior decorators and artists team together for attaining contracts, especially if they're doing fine arts and things like that? Or is that something that goes on?
Yes, so it is. So interior designers, I guess in that role would traditionally be the specifier, conceptualizing what could go there. And then the artist is actually the one that transforms. I did a project a few years back for the VA hospital. It was a part of their MOVE program. And the concept was to have people, use the stairwells and things like that. So we redid the stairwells where they almost look like parks, and they have scenes on the wall of people doing like different activities. Now I can conceptualize all that, but I wasn't the one to actually put it on the wall. So, an artist and myself worked together to do that. And then a lot of the major cities have directives that a percentage of, especially in public spaces, have to be dedicated to art. So if there are artists on this call, please look at some of these large projects, especially if they're funded with public money. There's a section of that money that needs to be in the form of a sculpture or park benches, or, painting the electrical box with a mural, or, the cinder block walls with murals. So there's lots and lots of opportunities that may not even be interior design related, but they're part of the planning. They're part of that project. So again, to Crystal's points, the artist even needs to come out from behind and search and see what's happening, in the procurement world.
Love it. That's absolutely right. Also, there's a lot of commercial and structural building going on in the city of Los Angeles. Are there opportunities out there for our local artists and crafters to be involved in the beautification of our cities?
Yes, there are. And even the General Service Administration, which is the largest leaseholder in the federal government, they own a lot of the properties that some of the other federal agencies inhabit. And they have, as a part of their design manual, again, scripted directives on the amount of art and things like that that need to be incorporated in these spaces. I had a contract years ago just changing out Obama's pictures in all of the federal facilities. So, I mean, it could be.
Wow. That's awesome.
But who would have thunk? So again, out and exploring, you trust me, whatever it is you think you see in the world, whether it's a thumbtack, whether it's, carpet, whether it's, the trays that people go to cafeteria, all those products and services have to be purchased from somewhere. And it doesn't have to be Taiwan and China, right? It could be Torrance in Los Angeles.
Mm. Do you sit on a number of boards, or just the ones that pertain to your industry?
So
or do you sit on?
No, variety. So I'm the secretary for the National Association of Women Business Owners, the LA chapter. I'm a mayoral appointed small business commissioner. I am a director for the Associated General Construction for the Tri-Counties for the San Fernando Valley, the Ventura area. The IIDA, the International Interior Design Association. I'm the LA chapter chair for that particular organization. And I'm the mother of 2 little kings. So I got 2 kings being born in the world. So
you are a major multitasker.
Chairman of that board, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. But that's important, because that's what I have found when I get involved in community organizations and community which is one of the reasons that I agreed to be the co-director of Recycling Black Dollars, because I recognized that it would put me at the table with the major players in the city. And I thought that was very important. At first I was going to turn it down, and I thought, what the heck? Hey, wake up. and then I got involved. I sit on several other boards. So again, for our business owners, I know we feel that we're super, super, super busy, but obviously no one's busier than Ronda. No one's busier than Robin. I got like all kinds of balls up in the air, but we find time, because what it does is it expands our brand. It takes us out of our comfort zone. We're sitting at the table where people are having conversations about contracts that are out there and how you participate. So I know sometimes we feel we ain't got enough time for all of that. You have to make time. Would you agree, Rhonda?
Well, so I think you said it earlier, that these things aren't going to come to you, right? And I had a mentor tell me a while ago, he says, either you're at the table or you're on the menu.
Yeah.
That's my favorite, my favorite comment.
So, but the other part of that too is these conversations are being had with or without us. So one of the reasons that I want to participate in these conversations is because I'm the one raising my hand saying, where's the women? Where are the Black people? Where are the brown people? Where are the yellow people? Right? I'm raising my hand to be a part of that, or hearing that is in the room. So even sometimes my presence, I'm not even saying anything. People look up and they go, oh yeah, diversity. Okay, then I represent diversity, no problem. But you have to be present for those conversations. I don't want to see the pie cut after. If I can see the bottom of the tin on the pie, it's too late. Yeah. It's too late. So I want to see the pie when it comes out the oven. I want to hear about the pie, the ingredients. Wait, what kind of pie is it going to be? Is it apple? Is it cherry? Is it, rhubarb? Whatever. But I want to know about that ahead of time, because either A, that's one of the ways that I've been able to diversify my skill set. And, let me hurry up and get my contractor's license. Let me add this scope. Let me add that scope, so that I can have go ahead and acquire the past performance that I'm going to need in smaller chunks to be able to participate on the larger opportunity. So don't just think of it, oh, it's a 3-year forecast. Well, it'll come later. Well, no, that's 3 years for you to get ready. That's 3 years for you to show that you have the financial capacity, you have the past performance to do the work, and that you've built out a business and worked out all the kinks and not waited for the larger opportunity, which is a larger opportunity to fail. So you don't want to wait for the 3-year opportunity. You want to know about it, the 3 years prior, so you can build up and get your framework together, get your house in order.
All righty. I love it. I love it.
Greg has a question. Is there an organization that focuses on exterior designs? And then I have a follow-up on that.
Not that focuses on exterior design, not that I can think of off the top of my head. Not that I can think of. Usually, so I'll take that back.
That's more landscaping and
Well, the AIA, the American Institute of Architecture, usually they're more the structural side of things. So a lot of landscape designers will belong to them, a lot of architects, civil engineers, and things like that. So that would be more what comes to mind for me when you talk about the structure. And then some architectural firms actually do interior design work. So there's the Perkins and Wills and Genslers that actually kind of dabble in the interior and the exterior. But I think the AIA would be probably the one that probably comes to top of mind right now.
And then Colette says, great information, Rhonda. We know you're a client, and thank you again for all of that good relationship building that you did there. But how do you balance your time? And I'm going to make a comment before I ask you to answer that question. You know, one of the things that we have to remember as Black people, that really has never been our question. That really has never been our question. It's called play the cards you are dealt, because every night the cards get reshuffled and you get a new hand in the morning. So we've never been we've always leaned in. We've always figured out how to balance it, because there is no such thing as balance. You take care of today. I'm on my soapbox. You take care of today, because tomorrow is a different 24 hours. So talk about balance. You know, you mentioned you're raising the kings, you have your own home that you're managing, you have your revenue streams that you're managing. So talk about how, what have been some of your success points for balancing your time?
So I think the one thing that I try to do well is not wear multiple hats at the same time. So when I'm mommy, it can go to voicemail, email doesn't have to be checked. When I'm business owner, my kids have, you know, somewhere to be or something that they're doing. When I'm friend, you know what I mean? So I try to make sure that I can carve out space to be who I need to be in that particular moment. And then maybe in private, I have my little scurry of trying to, you know, do, you know, clean up all the edges and things like that. But I think one of the lessons that I've really learned is just to be the one thing that I need to be in that moment, to your point, Robin. And then the other stuff, you know, gets its section and time. And then right now I just recently opened a Benjamin Moore paint store. So I have a retail Benjamin Moore paint store in East LA. And there are, you know, dedicated days that I'm there to serve that business and that company. And then having a team, you know, I don't try to do it all by myself. I mean, that strong Black woman, take that S off your chest, throw it down, burn it, stomp it. Do not.
It's called God's grace. It's the grace and mercy. That's what you wrap yourself up in.
Other than that, no, thank you. So, you know, I'm sorry. Housekeeper, mandatory, you know, because think about it. So number 2. So one is to be what I need to be in that moment. But the second thing is, especially as a business owner, focus on revenue generating things. If that's because I'm the key business developer and salesperson in my business. You know, I have a bookkeeper, I have a this, I have a that. So I should not be going to the post office. That is a task that I could delegate. That is something that I could have someone from the office do online, right? My job is to check in with Beverly to make sure I have the latest and greatest on government contracting. My job is to check in with Colette and Robin on our weekly or biweekly calls to make sure that, you know, I'm up to date on whatever grants or, you know, business impact that is going to happen. That's my job. So make sure, like, if you make a list of all the stuff that you do in a day, you can probably cross off quite a few things if you, one, delegate those things to people that can handle, you know, smaller tasks or less income generating tasks, and then you focus on the things that are going to impact your bottom line.
Perfect.
Absolutely fantastic. We are at 11:44 and we want our correspondent, Ms. Colette, to inform us on what's going on with the money area. And we also have Emma Maxey that wants to bring us some information as well. Rhonda, as always, you've been absolutely fantastic. So proud of all that you're doing. You are a pillar in our community, and we thank you. And if you guys need a peer to look up to, this young lady is definitely one to look up to. Follow her, map her trails, and incorporate them into your business, and you also will reach that greatness. It's been an honor. Thank you so much. Thank you, Stephen, and Robin for bringing her to the platform. Hope you guys have all enjoyed her. I hear you have a podcast. So we would love for you to put that information in the chat so we can follow you. Are you on YouTube as well?
I'm on YouTube, yes. Yeah.
So I'm going to say this to all of my Black folks, and I'm going to preface it with Black folks. In order for us to be successful on YouTube as Black podcasters, we need you to get over there and subscribe. So I'm going to ask you to subscribe to her channel, and then I'm going to ask you to go over to the Business Zone and subscribe. It does not cost you a dime in order to hit that subscribe button and hit the red bell so that every time Rhonda comes on, every time the Business Zone comes on, Community Briefing has it, you guys will get an update when we upload. So please support us in this area. we would absolutely I hate to beg. It is not one of my strong suits. But this is an area that I find myself begging for all the time. So I'm going to ask that for you, Miss Rhonda, because I know how it works. And let's follow Miss Rhonda Jackson on her podcast. Let's help support her. Let's help her grow her channel. That is the only way we can monetize and create another revenue stream, is by getting our numbers up on YouTube. So if you can do it for a white component, you sure the heck can do it for us. So that's my soapbox. Thank you, Rhonda.
I appreciate it.
I'm sorry, Rhonda, say that again.
Well, I was just saying thank you back. Thank you for the plug, and thank you for the time to share, and just, many blessings to you guys. I mean, you're here. So if nothing else, just imparting words to the business owners and to all of you guys that you're here, you made it. Now just let folks know and be willing to do the next step.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Miss Colette, with that, we're going to turn it over to you.
Is she on mute?
I don't know. Where are you, Miss Colette? We see her presentation.
You see your mouth moving.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you, Rhonda. Rhonda, for those that don't know, is a friend, and she was so wonderful when I started my business. She really does understand this procurement game and how it's played, and does not get discouraged by the vastness and the complexity of the procurement activity. It requires a lot. You have to simplify it. And so, Rhonda, thank you for breaking that down today, and how to simplify the procurement game, because it's a challenge and pieces are moving. And so how do you keep up? But you've been successful doing it. So thank you for sharing today, as always, and bringing your energy. So you guys, I have just a couple of a few updates that I wanted to share with you. Let me see if I can get them. So one is, we talked about this last week. Of course, the idol is still open. The amount has opened. Emma can speak to that. The deadline, though, is December 31st, but we've been making sure that everyone has applied for the PPP. So the deadline, May 31st, fast approaching. As of last week, for those that did not know, the CDFIs are the only ones now that are able to submit applications. So PCR is a lender, and we do have money to lend for this program as a CDFI. And we just heard some really horror stories of banks that had said that, an application was in progress for a client, and then they found out that it had never been submitted to the SBA already, right? And so now people are scrambling because they thought that they were approved by the bank and also in tow for approval for the SBA, but it had never been submitted to the SBA. And so there's several small businesses that have fallen into that basket. And so we actually are working to expedite those. We've assigned 2 advisors to make sure that we're working with our lending team to get any clients ready and packaged in the next essentially 2 weeks. So by the end of next week, we will be done. So let anybody know that has not already, figured out their requirements, that now is the time, because this program is coming to a close, and we have not heard that this is going to be re-upped. Emma, anything else on this one?
No. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. And before I say anything, Rhonda, I wanted to thank Rhonda. She is amazing. I've worked with Rhonda professionally and personally. She's done some work for me. She is an amazing person. And I thank you for everything you do and what you provided today to our audience. And with respect to the PPP, that program is basically over, except the CDFIs that may or may not have money. And I'm getting a lot of calls of people. And as we say with anything, we wait until the last minute. We don't follow up. And unfortunately, when you don't, these are the consequences. And if you had a loan in progress and now you find out it wasn't funded, 100% is because you probably didn't follow up to see check the status. Please don't let this happen with the Restaurant Revitalization Fund program. Those are out, especially right now. The first 21 days are for women, minorities, that are applying. If you do not get your application in, the timeline that they're giving you, it's going to be opened up to all the other bigger restaurants and other businesses. You may not get an opportunity to get back in line. They will put you at the back of the line. There are millions of people applying for these loans. Also with the Shattered Venue Fund program, that's also going on. There's a lot of complications with the applications for some people. So make sure you take the time with both of these and all of these programs, that you take time, have your documents in front of you before you attempt to fill out the application.
And there are applications, you can fill them out before you input them.
Absolutely.
And our advisors can assist you if you have questions with those, but especially that SVOG, the Shattered Venue grant is it's a little more complicated than some of the other grants. And so, but we can assist you with that and the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. Hey, Emma, question for you though, because we just heard yesterday that the Revitalization Fund was closed, except for businesses where the loss is under $50,000. So that's been reported. We had not heard it from the SBA yet, but it was being reported last night, and our clients were calling and texting and emailing and saying what happened. And so do you have any additional?
I haven't heard. In fact, right after I leave this call, we're going on another Zoom call regarding this, and there are a lot of problems. And I haven't heard that. I'll let you know and send an email to you if that comes up on the conversation. But I will let you know, we do have a lot of resource partners, again, like Colette said, that are helping people with these applications. If you need the help, do not feel like you don't want to check with it. You have to really get in there, and the money is there now. It will eventually run out like everything else, but please, please take advantage of it if you qualify, whether it's the RFF or the SVGO. The money is there. Take advantage of it if you think you qualify. And if you don't know if you qualify, call someone and ask questions. Right. We are here to help. And we will find out as much information as we can. I will tell you the RRF application is not as complicated as the SVOG. Like Colette said, there's a lot of issues with the other one, but we are really trying to figure out how we can make these applications much smoother and better for the applicants. So if you have any questions, you guys have my phone number, but you also have our resource partners, and reach out to them and do what you need to do to make sure you get your information and your application in the queue so that you can get funded. I don't know if this will ever happen again. Take advantage of this opportunity while you can. And going forward, any assistance that the SBA can provide any small business that's on the call, please reach out to us. Don't wait until after the pandemic is completely over and then try to get these opportunities that are going to be out here. There are going to be so many opportunities for a lot of small businesses. Take advantage of the help while you can.
Yeah, well, thank you, Emma. And we are excited to be able to do this. And we know that you guys can get this money. You just need a little help. And so, but we know, and we have had some of the restaurants already funded. So if they submitted applications last week, they already got funded already. And so, you know, but you guys have been hearing from me, and all I talk about is urgency, urgency, urgency. And I try not to sound like a fire alarm, but I kind of feel that way sometimes. Because
it is. It really is.
I want our community to get the money available. So you guys, we're getting fewer and fewer of those. I also wanted to share, I think, Ardina, you've seen this, the Artwork Archives was another grant that's available. This Hello Alice, a $10,000 grant, that link is there. Amber Grant for Women. How many women on this call have applied for the Amber Grant for Women? Okay, this grant is every month. It's every month, and it's $4,000. So I encourage you to apply for that particular grant. Every month they do that grant. And so please apply for that. Chick-fil-A, that's for not-for-profits. And that is due May 31st. And it's a lot of money available. There's a SoCal Black Founders Startup Grant that's available. And of course, GoFundMe, and then the US Chamber has some grants as well. And then I just wanted to share a few other money help activities that are available. This one is the Mortgage Relief Program. So if you were struggling with your mortgage or know somebody or a small business that has their business at home, that there is a program to help people in general regarding mortgage support and mortgage relief. It does require what I would call some technical assistance. NHS is one of them. Neighborhood Housing Foundation with Lori Gay is her group is providing support for this program. And so the link is there. If you need help, please share this with others. Then for LA City, I wanted to share that they had several tax relief things going on. So if you're in the city of LA, they have a payment program, an installment program for your taxes that you may want to participate in. It could help on your cash flow. They've lowered the payment requirement for it. And so I would certainly consider looking at that. They've eliminated interest. So basically, if you do the payment plan with them, it's like an interest-free loan. So now you can pay over time, but they're not giving you interest. It's an interest-free loan. And so think about it that way when you see kind of deferments or eliminating interest that can help you. They've extended the tax deadline for certain fund classes, so you should look at that. And then they've extended, if you're paying LAPD or LA fire permit renewals, those have been extended as well. And those are all cash flow options to help you expand your cash flow. Then one, and Rhonda mentioned this, I wanted to share, was there's a program with LA City called LA Optimized. And in that program, you can get help with developing a website and some social media and some Google help as well. It is a free program. So LA is still talking about this. So the program is still open. And I encourage you, if you need help with your website or if you need to build one, go there. We also do this at the SBDC. Certainly, we have a marketing specialist, but we don't build websites for you. This is going to be a little more hands-on, I think, to assist you in that process. And so this is a free program. So I encourage you to participate. Then we have another PPE event coming up, and this is with the City of Compton. So that's going to be on next Wednesday 10 to 3. If you haven't gotten your box of PPE yet with your mask, and as things are opening, you need PPE. People are still wearing masks if you're working, and inside you got to wear the equipment. And so those requirements have not changed, and it's great to cut your costs. These things are expensive, so another way to lower your cash flow here. Then we do have a bunch of workshops. I just put the link in. I didn't get a chance to put all of the workshops in, everything from business planning to marketing to financial workshops, a lot of Restaurant Academy activities in addition to the other things that we do. And then of course, the one-on-one advisement. So get your one-on-one, get your advisor. Make sure that you are doing and setting your SMART goals with that advisor. Set a follow-up meeting like you would with any other consultant. Go back, at least meet with the advisor quarterly. At least quarterly. And as some of you all know, I was a client of PCR. I was a good client and I was a bad client. And so I want you all to be really good clients to optimize your opportunities when you are getting consulting, whether it's paid for or whether it is free of charge to you. Optimize that time and make sure that you're making progress along the way. Last thing I wanted to share, and Rhonda mentioned this, she said, be profitable. This was a quote one of our advisors shared. Financial tracking is critical for any business. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. So I have been impressed by the growing sophistication of our clients during the pandemic with their financials. I encourage you all to continue to learn, understand your financials, and now use that to help you to better manage your business. And so continue to grow in your financial knowledge, and we're here to help you. That is it for me. I can drop this in just a second, but thank you guys
very
for your attention.
much. Thank you, Colette, as usual, full of information and that stuff that we need. And that someone asked about the presentation. And so, yes, it will be available. She's going to drop the link in the chat. And then also this recording will be uploaded to YouTube shortly this afternoon. And then you'll be able to see the future recordings at the communitybusinessbriefing.com, our website. And then you'll also be able to check it out on YouTube. So thank you guys so much. This has been awesome. There's another announcement that I received. Excuse me. On May 15th, which is, I believe, this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., there is an event that's being presented by Family. It's a Walk a Mile for Malcolm. So they're petitioning the code name Crenshaw Boulevard to Malcolm X Boulevard. So there's an event that's going on in Lamert, the park at 4343 Lamert Boulevard on the 15th. There's a press conference at 11. There's volunteers to walk a mile for Malcolm at 12. And then at 4 o'clock, there's a special performance by Tori Brandon Reese. And so if you're interested, for more information, you can go to FamilySoul.org and reach out to them at 323-864-2656. So, and, oh yes, taxes are due on Monday, May 17th. So you definitely want to be, hopefully y'all ready for that. Everybody should have took a loss last year, so that should be an easy tax return. There was no income.
Not everybody. Some people.
Well, not everybody. Some people.
Right.
Yeah, some people did extremely well last year. Mine kind of, yeah, their pivot, their new plan, their identifying their strengths. Again, want to thank everyone for joining us. Thank you, Rhonda. Just awesome information. Please, guys, follow her on her podcast, and also just follow her on LinkedIn. Go befriend her on LinkedIn and as well as on Facebook. We all should be following each other on social media. So make that a priority for everyone. We can only support each other if we're there for each other. The last thing, and Rhonda made this comment, and thank you for this plug for Recycling Black Dollars. We are working on our social media, our app, resource guide app. So if you received a mailing from me, an e-blast for this briefing today, there is a link there that you can go to and sign up for free so that your business will be listed in the resource guide. We will have a team of people out for some upgrades to the app and to make sure that we know where every Black business is so that we can support them. So thank you guys so much. It is 12:03. We do appreciate your time and we hope you come back next week. In fact, we don't hope, we ask you to come back next week.
And somebody with you.
And bring a friend and several friends, and make sure you subscribe. And Stephen, Stephen, you did not introduce yourself in the beginning, so we're gonna want you to do that, and also to tell us who's here next week.
Okay, again, my name is Stephen Turner. I'm the general principal of the Slate Group. We are a risk management insurance company for business owners. Also, I'm proud to announce that next week, one of my clients, one of my friends and colleagues, Denise Peoples, who's the Chief Education Officer of STEM Stimulation, will be there, STEM Learning. We'll talk about how we can empower our children. Like Rhonda has a son who's going to go to college. Bianca has a daughter who's also making the transition, as well as many of us. But one of the keys is education with STEM, math, and we're going to talk about that next Thursday on the 20th.
All right, fantastic. And if anyone has children between the ages of 13 and 18, our business camp, the Los Angeles Urban League Business Camp, I'm one of the instructors, is taking applications right now. So you can go. It is a completely free camp for our kids. In fact, we pay the kids to come to the camp. So I can't get no better than that, right? It's a virtual camp, and the kids will learn how to become entrepreneurs, and then they will compete for money at the end of the camp. And then there's so many other opportunities. So if you have a youth between the ages of 13 and 18, go over to the Los Angeles Urban League website. That's laul.org BizCamp, and sign your child up. We're taking applications now. And then we'll be making appointments to interview the kids. And also, if you want to be a mentor for these kids, we would so appreciate that. Ms. Robin did that, and she was just thrilled with the talent that these kids have. So if you want to be a mentor or a speaker for the kids, we'd love to have you do that. And you can also register for that at the Los Angeles Urban League website as well. So thank you guys. It's been fantastic. So we shall see you guys next week.
Right. Thank
Take
you.
care, everybody.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Have a fantastic day. Make sure you're masked up still, even though even though we got COVID happening. We're past that, but we still got to be safe. So let's still make sure that we're practicing safety out there. And we'll see you guys next week.
All right. Bye-bye.
All righty. Bye-bye,
care now.
everyone.